Northern Nigeria's riot police training academy has been overrun by Boko Haram militants. Shots were heard after the militants arrived in 3 armored vehicles and on dozens of motorcycles. The police spokesman confirmed the attack, while a senior security source said it had not been possible to communicate with the academy since Wednesday. Joining me via Skype now is Ali Mudialo. Ali Mudialo is the regional coordinator for the West African Network for Peace Building. Thank you very much for joining me here. Alimu.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This latest development, really, what does it say by a Nigerian, as far as the attempts by the Nigerian government to deal with the issue of Boko Haram is concerned?
It keeps sending the wrong signals about the effectiveness of the government's campaign to contain the Boko Haram insurgency. If now they can also infiltrate the training academies and attack it, and which is supposed to have been the institution where the capacity of the military is being built to fight terrorist attacks from Boko Haram. So it sends significant warning to say they have infiltrated almost every available space to continue their campaign. And this is unfortunate because, as we've always been saying, we've not been seeing the deliberate strategies of the government to really fight, and especially the willingness in the strength and spread of Boko Haram. So this is a worrying trend, and it is unfortunate it is happening at this time in our global world, wherein we are also having other major issues erupting in some parts of the world that is now taking attention from the issues or reducing attention from the issues of Boko Haram. For example, the ISIS crisis in Iraq is now the most significant threat with regards to international terrorism, and a lot of efforts are now being diverted towards containing and neutralizing the ISIS group in Iraq and in Syria. So this is also going to affect the international support Nigeria gets in terms of fighting against the Boko Haram insurgency.
Time without number, the Nigerian military has told us how they were on top of issues as far as dealing with Boko Haram is concerned. To have Boko Haram infiltrate one of their own grounds, it's an absolute shatter for hopes that indeed something solid could be done for the people in northern Nigeria. What sort of action should the Nigerian military take henceforth?
Yeah, I think first of all it is to recognize the threat and the significance of the problem they have at hand, because we've been seeing the government coming out to say they are on top of the game, they are doing well, they are fighting and preventing a lot of attacks. But the reality we are seeing is contrary to the government's claim. We are not saying that the government has not been doing anything. We know they are up against a very difficult task, but they need to recognize their limitations and now develop other strategies to make sure that they get the required support from the sub-region and also from the international community, because this is much bigger than we expected. Because now, if they're also attacking the training academies, then it sends a very stern warning about the future of Nigeria and West Africa, especially in the context of the upcoming 2015 elections. So who knows? They might continue to intensify their campaign towards the election period, which can also create another problem of legitimacy if the elections are not able to hold as scheduled. So this call for more strategies of the government comprehensive analysis of the situation they are dealing with today, and then developing the right strategies at national level and also engaging the sub-regional bodies and international community to get the right support to minimize this terror campaign.
I remember at the time the girls were kidnapped, minds were divided as to the kind of help Nigeria needed from the international community. At this point, when we are absolutely devastated about the level of infiltration of Boko Haram into the Nigerian army itself, what sort of help? It will bring back that question. What sort of help should Nigeria be seeking from the international community now?
I think we've had some of the military personnel, talking about the problems they have in terms of weapons and logistics, and that is important, even though it was refuted by the government spokesperson. But I think the veracity of such claims should not be swept under the carpet. So they need a lot of support, a lot of funding support that can provide logistics, and Nigeria needs support for equipment that could be used to carry out very effective surveillance missions, and also capacity building, because the military, I'm sure the equipment they are using are outdated. The strategies they are using, to fight Boko Haram needs to be enhanced, because maybe their military training was for conventional warfare, and now they are dealing with a different type of warfare, if we can call it a warfare, which is a guerrilla attack. Yes.
Alimo, these things you mentioned, they are not too different from what we asked for at the time the girls were kidnapped. Isn't it time to seek foreign boots on Nigerian soil?
Foreign boots, I don't know. I think it has to be analyzed by military experts, because they would have to look at the pros and cons of getting boots on the ground. And because sometimes, if you are not careful, that can also be a fertile ground for recruitment to join the Boko Haram campaign, especially when people feel that their rights are being violated, and the intervention is now taking legitimacy away from the government to fight Boko Haram. So this has to be analyzed thoroughly, and then from a conceptual perspective, also we need to look at it based on the legitimacy of getting foreign troops, because you can only do so when the government of Nigeria requests for that, or when there is a UN Security Council resolution to back that. Otherwise, what will be the legitimate...
But ECOWAS doesn't seem to have lived to its expectation.
Troops, the international community to support Nigeria. So these are the issues we need to analyze, and then... Yes, go ahead.
I was asking, ECOWAS doesn't seem to have lived to its expectations, does it?
Sorry?
I'm asking, ECOWAS hasn't seemed, it doesn't seem as though ECOWAS lived up to its expectations of helping Nigeria battle Boko Haram. The issue of ECOWAS is that I'm sure ECOWAS should intervene, but through the member states. That would be a very effective way of engaging, rather than taking the responsibility directly to engage in the fight of Boko Haram. But ECOWAS has already developed a sub-regional strategy to counter violent extremism. But the implementation of that has not been realized as we speak. But one of the challenges could be also
getting the right logistics, getting the right equipment, getting the willingness of member states to contribute. So ECOWAS can only intervene when there is a commitment from the member states to